I think the people that I get to work with day in, day out, the culture from the top down. We're a God-fearing, God-honoring company. He has blessed us, and to work in a place like that day in, day out is truly, I think, an exception in our country that I wish we had more places like that.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Amarillo City Commission held on the third floor of City Hall this Tuesday at 3 p.m. The first item of business on today's agenda is the minutes. Those minutes are regarding the meeting held on July 2nd. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes as presented? Not, I entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move for approval of minutes as presented.
I second the motion.
A motion and a second for the minutes as presented. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with a 5-0 vote. Resolution for public hearing. This resolution conducts a public hearing on and considers order to removal of substandard structure located at 823 North Van Buren Street. And so at this point, we'll conduct a hearing to determine that certain properties constitute a nuisance by virtue of dangerous structure and accumulation of weed, trash, and junk, or some combination of these, pursuant to the city ordinance. The mayor will make the determination as to which procedural or evidentiary questions. I will now call the case involving 823 North Van Buren Street. The owner is the estate of Jesse Marie Attis, substandard structure. Would all persons who may desire to speak and give evidence on this matter please stand and raise your right hand? Do you now solemnly swear to affirm that the testimony you are about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. And Ms. McDonald, would you present the case?
Thank you, Your Honor. Commission. The property located at 823 North Van Buren is a fire-damaged residential structure. It was a wood frame construction on pier and beam foundation. The structure has been vacant since May of 1999. The structure was involved in a fire on April 15th of 2011 and was a total loss. There's been no recent attempt by the owner or owners to repair or abate these hazards. Recent high winds have collapsed the remaining wall structure. The property is a nuisance to the community. It presents multiple hazards for its neighbors and is an unsafe environment and is dangerous. Demolition is recommended. The beginning date for this file was April of 2013. Notification was sent. The initial notice was sent to 4 individuals: the estate of Jesse Marie Attis, Stella Glasgow, Thaddeus Thompson, Doris Branford. Those notices were sent on May the 24th of 2013, delivered June the 4th, 2013 to Thaddeus Thompson and Doris Branford. Public hearing notice was sent via certified mail to the estate of Jesse Marie Attis, Stella Glasgow, Thaddeus Thompson, Doris Bradford. These notices were mailed on June the 19th of 2013. One was delivered on June 28, 2013 to Thaddeus Thompson. The property was posted with a notice of condemnation hearing placard on the property on June the 6th of 2013. Building safety has had no recent permit activity. There are no current taxes, no delinquent taxes. There's been no water service to the property since May the 24th of 1999. Over the past 2 years, this property has been maintained by a city contractor. On October the 26th, 2012, the property was mowed. Currently, there is $260.89 owed to the city against this property. This is the file, is the business record that we create and maintain in the ordinary course of business in the Department of Building Safety. The contents were made by or at the discretion of a person with personal knowledge thereof at or about the time the events or conditions reflected therein. The photographs in the file accurately portray what they represent. I tender it to you as evidence in this matter and for the purposes of this hearing. However, because this is the original and active file, I request to substitute the electronic version of this file. Such electronic version is an exact duplicate of the original file that has been secured on the city's IT network under Hummingbird number 2179007.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. We'll accept the original file and submit it to the record of this hearing if you want to move forward. And substitution of the electronic record is allowed for all purposes, including appeals. Commissioners, you now may examine the file and ask any questions you might have of Mr. McDonald. Any questions from the commissioners at this point? We'll now hear from persons with legal interest to the property who have been sent notices of this hearing. If such persons now fail or refuse or neglect to appear, they are deemed to have admitted liability for the defects and violations as stated in the initial notice. Is there an owner, occupant, or lien holder of the property present who wants to present pertinent information or to question the building official?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, ma'am, if I could have you raise your right hand and we'll swear you in. Do you now solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
If you'd like to come forward, please, and if you would identify yourself and give your address, please.
My name is Stella Blasco, and I guess I'm representing the property that's shown on the video here. It belongs to my mother, who is deceased. The individual that the attorney mentioned, Thaddeus, is my uncle. He lives in Denver, Colorado. Doris Jean Bradford is my mother's sister, my aunt. She's deceased. So I'm the only individual responsible. I live next door to this property in my homestead. My mother passed without leaving a will, so I've maintained the taxes on the property. And it was burned down, true enough, both instances about 2 years apart. And I'm very angry about what happened there. And I neglected to respond to the notices that were sent to me. So I'm here today to do whatever I can in terms of the legal issue to try to clear that up and I guess get on the demolition list so that the property can be torn down. It is an eyesore, I admit that. And it's quite an ordeal to maintain 4 lots, and they're all next door to each other, right there. And I've done my best to maintain just cutting the lawns and maintaining the homestead, which is next door. But like I said, my mother passed without leaving a will, and I'm the only, I guess you could say, living individual, and she verbally stated she did not want the property sold. She wanted it left for a homestead because I have a brother who's deceased, but he has 2 daughters who live in, I've drawn a complete blank now. Anyway, they're in Alabama, and I don't think they're interested in the property. But like I said, I am willing to do whatever it takes to clear up the matter.
Thank you, ma'am. Your information is submitted to the record of this hearing. Does the City Commission have any questions for Ms. Glasgow or for the building official?
In light of her testimony, I'd like to ask Ms. McDonald a question.
And that's correct. Ma'am, if you wouldn't mind, you want to have a seat right up here close, and we'll ask Mr. McDonald a question.
Ms. McDonald, if this property is demolished, will she owe money, or could that demolish, the cost of that be taken care of in CDBG money, or?
There are several options. If the City Commission so desires to condemn this property today and order its removal, then she has 10 days in which to clean the property up. If she fails to do so, then we'll ultimately bid out for a contract to clean up the property, and we will lien the property, or offer an opportunity to pay that bill. Failure to pay the bill will result in lien. However, based upon income, if she income qualifies, it is in the target area, and there may possibly be CDBG funds that would be available to clean up the property. We certainly would assist her through all of that, and don't want anything other than just to abate the hazard.
Of course, Mr. McDonald, it's somewhat of a catch-22 is that she does not have legal ownership of this property. If we put a lien on it, it doesn't add to or take away from her burden necessarily, because she doesn't legally own it yet, or at this moment in time.
Correct.
And I don't know what the pile of money, which is, I know, small, at CDBG, would it be better to use that money for what other purposes that we normally use it for, and demolish this, clean this property up, and add it as a lien to the property?
And then at a future date, it would be either cleaned up by sale or.
Correct.
Yeah. I don't think we can answer all of those questions today. Mr. Norris, do you have any opinion on any of this?
No, it's a difficult situation. We certainly respect and appreciate Ms. Glasgow's efforts. It's an overwhelming task. You can just look at this fire destroyed building. There's nothing there to rehab. It's a difficult situation.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner, does that answer as best we can? Okay, is there, go ahead, excuse me.
I'd like to redirect the question to her. You don't have any problem with us demolishing what's left of this property?
No,
And
nothing
then
whatsoever.
cleaning it all and adding that cost to do that to the property?
Well, what I thought is it's my
Ma'am, if
responsibility.
you don't mind coming back to the mic, please, just so we have a good record of this. Thank you.
Sorry.
I neglected to say, I think it's probably pretty obvious to everyone who's looking at me that I'm almost totally disabled from hopping around on one leg. The other is just almost gone. And I'm on a limited income, fixed income. And I was going to ask if it was possible. I don't have a whole lot of money to just plop down, right away. But if I could get on an installment plan and get some help with finding a contractor that would be willing to just, razz it down, that's all the help I think I need.
Well,
I haven't been able to locate anyone that's willing to come in and offer me a bid to just razz it down. And I need an installment plan, and I'll pay whatever is due. But I can't just plop down thousands of dollars.
Ms. Glasgow, in order to see if this works for you, in order for us to get the neighborhood cleaned up and get rid of that, it's really a matter of safety for the neighborhood as much as anything. What our process would be is if this commission chooses to condemn it and demolish it, then the city will put out a bid and find the lowest bidder to demolish that. They will then put a lien on the property for that amount. And if the property, I think I'm correct in this, if the property changes hands, that would be paid by selling that property or partially paid. I think we'll get to the point that you need to, and also help the neighborhood by getting rid of the building. I do have a question. I wasn't clear on ownership. We're saying that you don't own it, but your family has title to the.
I have the deeds to the property. It was
What name are they in?
Jesse Thompson, 8th.
And is that your?
That's my mother.
That's your mother.
Yes. And those individuals that were notified, well, like I said, Bashes Thompson is my mother's brother. Doris was her sister. That Doris is deceased. Bashes is still alive, but I guess he thinks it's my responsibility,
That is, you said, is an attorney in Colorado.
No, I said he's my uncle.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, he lives in Denver.
Mr. Norris, do you have any suggestion on what, without us giving legal advice, of what would happen next?
Well, there is a process in Texas short of a full-blown probate called union of title. It's a much more affordable, simple, short process whereby when it's just a single or small piece of property involved, the You do a document, notify all the heirs, identify the heirs of the document, they have a chance to come to the court, the judge can then legally issue a judgment that transfers title to the heirs, or the heirs can waive their interest. They can give it up, sign off on it if they're not interested in it. She would need to have a private attorney assist her with that. For purposes of this proceeding today, as I understand from Mr. McDonald's testimony, the city did provide notices to all known heirs. We did post the sign. We've given the notices for people with a legal interest, whether it's by being a child or a sibling or a grandchild, have had the opportunity to, in the eyes of the law, to have a notice and be here today. And Ms. Glasgow has responded.
Ms. Glasgow, we may take our action, and certainly you're able to talk to the city about other things like who would you go get to get this changed to your family's names, or send a document out to them so they sign off and don't have a right to it. But it isn't really something that this body would deal with today.
Okay.
Okay. Is that correct, Mr. Norris? Yes. Okay. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your comment. If you'd like to take a seat.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, is there any neighbor or anyone else who desires to speak about this property? Anyone else in the room that would desire to speak as a neighbor? Okay. Does the building official have anything further to add? Any questions from the city commissioners and building official either? Anything from the commissioners for our building official? Okay. Thank you very much. The hearing of the evidence is now closed. Commissioners, we must now publicly deliberate our decision. We must weigh the following facts: the validity of the allegation of the alleged violations, the severity of any such violation, any corresponding danger to the public. Also, take due regard of private property rights of the owner, fair opportunity for legally interested persons who have been notified, and problems and opportunities to repair, remediate, or remove the dangerous structure, or the accumulation of excess vegetation, junk, and debris. We may also weigh the private property interests of any neighbor who may be affected by any further delay or deterioration of the subject property. Finally, we may consider any other relevant factors that are unique to the circumstances of this case. And now it's time for our deliberation or selection at the end of that, selection of a final result. Is there any other deliberation by the commission? And I would entertain a resolution.
Mayor, I move and find this commission now finds this public nuisance exists and has not been timely abated, and now issue the following order. Item number 2, finding the structure or any other improvement of any kind or any part thereof is dangerous, and ordering its removal 10 days after notice of decision. And also item 5, the interested persons of the lot, tract, or parcel of land, accumulation of rubbish, trash, solid waste, and/or unsanitary matter described in the notice of violation are hereby ordered to remove the same from the premises within 10 days from this order.
Second both recommendations.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of that recommendation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with a 5 vote. This matter is now concluded. The city manager is directed to take all steps necessary to inform the interested parties of the outcome of this hearing, their appeal rights, and to implement this resolution. Ma'am, thank you. Hope everybody will bear with us. We have a related property that we'll go to next. We now conduct a hearing to determine if a certain property constitutes a nuisance by virtue of dangerous structure or accumulation of weed, trash, and junk, or some combination of these. This property, pursuant to city ordinance, the mayor will make the determination as to any procedural evidentiary questions. I now call the case involving 825 North Van Buren Street. The owner is the estate of Jessie Mae Adams substandard structure. All persons who may desire to speak and give evidence in this matter shall stand and raise their right hand. Do you now solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Mr. McDonald, would you now present the case, please? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor, Commission. The property located at 825 North Van Buren It's a fire damaged residential structure, wood frame construction on pier and beam foundation. This structure has been vacant since October of 1985. The structure was involved in 2 separate fires, December 5, 2009 and April 15, 2011. There's only fire debris remaining at this location. There's been no recent attempt by the owner or owners to repair or abate the hazards. The property is a nuisance to the community. It presents multiple hazards for its neighbors and creates an unsafe environment. Demolition is recommended. The original file on this property began in February of 2011 under the city's previous condemnation process, reinstituted in April of 2013. Notification information, initial notice of a dangerous structure was sent via certified mail to the estate of Jesse Marie Ates, Stella Glasgow, Thesis Thompson, Doris Bradford. Mailed on May the 24th of 2013, delivered to Thetis Thompson, delivered June the 4th, 2013, Doris Bradford, delivered June the 4th, 2013. Notice of public hearing sent certified mail to the estate of Jesse Marie Ates, Stella Glasgow, Thesis Thompson, Doris Bradford, mailed June the 19th, 2013, delivered June the 28th, 2013 to Thesis Thompson. Public notice was posted for the notice of condemnation hearing and a placard on site on June the 6th, 2013. Building safety has had no recent permit activity. Current taxes due on the property are 0. Delinquent tax is 0. There's been no water service to this property since October 14, 1985. Over the last 2 years, this property has been maintained by a city contractor, one time October 26, 2012, for mowing. Currently, there is $803.78 owed to the city against this property. This file is the business record that we created and maintained in the ordinary course of business in the Department of Building Safety. The contents were made by or at the direction of a person with personal knowledge thereof, at or about the time of the events or conditions reflected therein. The photographs in the file accurately portray what they represent. I tender it to you as evidence in this matter and for the purposes of this hearing. However, because this is the original and active file, I request to substitute an electronic version of this file. Such electronic copy is an exact duplicate of the original file that has been secured on the city's IT network under Hummingbird number 2179352.
Thank you, Mr. McDonald. You may approach the original file as admitted to the record of this hearing. Substitution of the electronic record is allowed for all other purposes, including appeals. Commissioners, you may now examine the original file and ask questions.
Mr. Mayor, I've got a question. Mr. McDonald, has anybody been paying taxes on this, or what is it worth?
The taxes are current.
So somebody, okay, so there has been taxes, so she, okay.
Okay, Mr. McDonald, at this point, thank you. We'll now hear from any person with legal interest in the property who were sent notice of this hearing. If such person fails or refuses or neglects to appear, they are deemed to have admitted liability for the defects and violations as stated in the initial notice. Is there any owner, occupant, or lien holder of the property present who wants to present pertinent information for a question of building official? Ma'am, please, if you don't mind, thank you for coming back up. And again, just because it's a separate record, do you mind stating your name and address again, please?
My name is Stella M. Glasgow, and I live at 827 North Van Buren, which is adjacent to these two structures.
Thank you, ma'am.
I have maintained the property taxes. I don't know about this $800 and some that's owed toward it. I don't know anything about that.
The mowing and cleanup.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. I don't have anything else to say except I agree it needs to be, torn down, destroyed, whatever else it needs. I'm amenable to it.
We don't mean to put you through this again, but legally with 2 separate properties, we have to go through the whole procedure.
Okay.
So thank you for coming back up.
Okay.
Oh, excuse me.
Ms. Glasgow, before you leave the podium, I'm not an attorney, and there's probably a lot of people in this town would not take my advice on anything. But I would advise you to do nothing as far as trying to repay the expenses of the destruction and by your own statements on limited income. And I just hate to see you dip into that, for something that, I don't know will do you any good. But that's just my advice, and it's worth what you just paid for. Nothing free.
Well, I appreciate it, and this has really been a source of concern to me since these fires occurred. And, I don't know, I just don't know what to do in terms of clearing up the matter. That's why I'm here today, to see what.
Bless you.
Yes. We don't have many people that come, and you've been very helpful to us in looking at this, but, as we said earlier, if you get an attorney to help you get property rights to that, to get the title, as Mr. Sim said, then do what you wish, but certainly to protect yourself. You can get some people to help you with that, I think.
Okay,
Okay?
okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any neighbors or anyone else that wishes to speak about this property? Does the building official have anything further to add?
No, sir.
Are there any questions or comments from the city commission? Thank you very much. The hearing and this evidence is now closed. Commissioners, we must now publicly deliberate our decision. We must weigh the following factors: the validity of the alleged violations, the severity of such violations, or any corresponding danger to the public. Also take due regard to private property rights of the owner, fair opportunity for legally interested parties who have been notified of the problems, and the opportunity to repair, remediate, or remove dangerous structure or the accumulation of excess vegetation, junk, and debris. We may also weigh the private property interest of any neighbors who may be affected by any further delay or deterioration of subject property. Finally, we may consider any other relevant factors that is unique to the circumstances of this case. And we now need to deliberate and pick one of the options to present in our ordinance. Any deliberation? Consider a motion.
Okay, this commission now finds that a public nuisance exists and has not been timely abated, and now issues the following orders. Recommendation 2, finding the structure or any other improvement of any kind or any part thereof is dangerous and ordering its removal 10 days after notice of decision. And option 5, the interested persons of the lot, tract, or parcel of land for accumulation of rubbish, trash, solid waste, or other unsanitary matters described in the notice of violation are hereby ordered to remove the same from the premises within 10 days from this order.
I second that.
A motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with a 5-0 vote. This matter is now concluded. The city manager is directed to take all steps necessary to inform interested parties of the outcome of this hearing, their appeals rights, and to implement the resolution. Ms. Glasgow, thank you again for appearing. It was helpful to have you here. I know it's a difficult thing. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
The next item is the consent agenda. It's recommended the following item be approved and that the city manager be authorized to execute all documents necessary for this transaction. A is the award of water well pump improvements. Is there any explanation needed by the audience for this item or from the commission? If not, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with a 5-0 vote. This concludes the regularly scheduled agenda of the Amarillo City Commission today. We'll move back to the executive session at the conclusion of this meeting. It's our customary at this time to allow citizens of the community with matters not on the agenda today pertaining to city policy, program, and services to speak to the commission. And the floor is now open for any comments. Would anyone like to come forward and make a comment? Sir, please come forward.
My name is Alan Feingold, and I live at 2601 North Grand Street. in accordance with the policy of demolishing structures which are either seriously deteriorated or collapsed, as these structures were, I urge the city to make a general review of structures which have been abandoned but are still structurally sound, or at least appear to be. That the city might make a determination which of these structures constitutes a public hazard or causes the deterioration of values of property in the neighborhood where these exist. For example, there is a two-story house which has not collapsed but has been abandoned, I believe, for approximately 20 years at the southwest corner of 11th and Buchanan Street. But the most prominent property I can think of, which does not constitute a public hazard but probably diminishes property values throughout the central part of Amarillo, is known as the Amarillo Ice House, which is approximately at Jackson and Southwest 1st Street, and has been in a state of abandonment for approximately 30 years. I think the building sustained considerable fire damage sometime in the early 1980s and has simply been standing. Since the structure is somewhat obscure and not in a heavily residential area, it may not constitute a public hazard. However, anyone looking at that structure and taking a look at the downtown area in general might conclude that there's a certain degree of negligence which the city has operated on regarding that property and perhaps others. I suggest that the city give serious consideration to ordering the demolition of that property, or at least notifying the owners of that property that that building needs to come down. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. City Attorney, clarify for me, we would have to have more costs to deal with that.
I would simply accept the comment as a citizen report of a possible building to be followed up on the building safety department. And I would have the burned out house at the corner of here at 15th and Jackson and Monroe. I drive by there, it was burned about 2 years ago, and or at least the front porch did. So that's a citizen complaint to add to the list.
But is abandonment?
Could we get your name and address, please, for the record?
I guess my question is abandonment alone a reason for us to act?
Merely being, there's no law against having a vacant building. We have to go the step further. We should send an inspector out, make a determination, preliminarily staff, whether it poses a danger, and if it does, it'll result in one of the cases like you saw today.
We can't do it on the basis of a deteriorating neighborhood unless it's tied to something else.
Correct. That's right.
Mr. Mayor, we were laughing about Mr. Norris suggesting a site, but aren't we as a city inviting people to let us know of sites that need to be?
Yes, we are.
Along that same tone, I think that we would encourage people to give the city addresses of homes that are a public safety issue, and I've done that myself. We depend on you because we don't have enough staff to be driving all over the city to find these properties. So if you see something that you think is a public safety issue, please report it to the city, and we'll go out and look at it. We want our city to look nice, so we don't want them to just think that we're a town of just shacks and torn down houses or burned down houses. So, if you're proud of Amarillo, you need to be participatory in this process.
I think it's also important to point out, though, that the law changed in Texas a couple of years ago that allowed us to move these very quickly and concisely, but legally through the process, where before it would take the city a year and a half, and that often was delayed another year and a half. The laws have been streamlined. We've enacted an ordinance. For those of you listening, this has changed. It's not that it was totally ignored or that there was negligence. I heard somebody comment that. It's simply that we couldn't put it through the process legally. Now we can, and we are. So the message should go out that we want to know about these properties so we can deal with them. And as Mr. Norris said, refer them to building safety and let them deal with it properly, and but also deal with it quickly. So it's a whole change from what we were able to do, or past commissions were able to do before the last couple of years. Okay. Well, that concludes. Is there anyone else who would like to comment at this time? If not, that concludes the agenda. We'll move back to executive session. Thank you for your attendance today.
Yes, ma'am, are we closed? Would I have time to maybe talk to you a minute?
Can we call the meeting back to order after we've adjourned it? We're adjourned this portion? So let's go ahead, sir. I'm sorry, that was what we were doing as public.
Oh, I thought it was just
Let's everybody take our seats and we'll welcome you up, sir, if you could.
Yes, sir, I appreciate your time, Mr. Mayor and Congressmen and the lady commissioners. My name is David Murkerson, and I live at 1422 East Hastings. And I've been having an ongoing problem with my neighbor at 1420 East Hastings. And it's a problem that consists of overwhelming dogs. There's a time when this lady will have 19 dogs in the yard at one time, and 6 automobiles and 2 travel trailers full of people. But the main thing is the dogs. And I have made numerous complaints to the dog animal control and also to the police department about seeing if I could seek some kind of relief on this. In the last year, I've been attacked 3 times by a pit bull. 2 of them came over the fence and 1 of them came under. And the injury that was resulted in it was when I was trying to get away with the Coumadin medicine I take for the bad heart, because I'm 100% disabled too. My legs swelled up and I had to see doctors and stuff. But I just took it for granted that the city officials, the animal control and the police department could handle this, and it's not getting handled. The last pit bull that attacked me in my front yard, I shot the dog, and now that they're wanting to press criminal charges for something that I believe that I should have had some help on a long time ago. And it's not because I didn't ask. I should have came here and addressed you sooner, but I put these officials in their place, and I have all the numbers, names, pictures, and everything to go along with it. I just haven't got it organized quite right. But I'd be willing to go down and get copies, ever how many I need. But I believe that there's a lot of information in here that you need to see. You're talking about Amarillo being an eyesore. Well, there's one building up in 1420 East Hastings over there. Like I said, with the automobiles, the junk, it's just unbelievable. And I would appreciate any kind of help. I've called the Department of Sanitation. I've called the Disease Control Department for the feces and stuff in the yard. I've talked to the owner 5 times, and none of it's done any good. Like I said, the last time the dog came under the fence, the result was the repair was to shove an old tire underneath the fence, and that was the solution to it. So at that, I'm going to let you go. I see this time's running out, but I really appreciate your time, and I would appreciate some help with this. Please, sir.
Thank you, sir, for the comment. I'll refer that to Mr. Atkinson, our city manager, and I think at the point, Mr. Atkinson, do you have a comment, or do you want to?
I do appreciate you bringing that up to us, and sorry for the troubles that you've had. We're going to adjourn the meeting. When we do, Miss Covey, down there on the end, she's got her hand up. She'll get with you, get some information, and then give us a chance from up here at this office, and we'll look into it and see what we can do.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming today, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment? Okay, then we'll move to our back to executive session. Thank you all for being here today.